With the announcement of Borderlands 4 inevitably coming, a lot of people are speculating when the game's going to come out, when the game's going to get announced for that matter, and then is the game going to be tied in with the movie in a sense that the movie's going to try to promote the game? How are they going to go about that? What is Gearbox's strategy when it comes to Borderlands 4? And it got me thinking about the state of the franchise. Now, with the last two games being pretty disappointing for a lot of players, I'm not going to sit here and try to blow smoke up your ass and say that Borderlands 3 didn't have its problems. With a launch so bad that it left a sour taste in a lot of players' mouths to where some of them didn't even bother going back, and then Tiny Tina's Wonderlands seemingly being completely abandoned by developers, it really makes me wonder how much pressure is on Gearbox moving forward for Borderlands 4. Now, who am I to sit here and try to say what this game needs to come out to be a success? Well, I don't really have any accolades. I'm just a guy that played Borderlands 3 a lot, and I love the franchise, and I've been in the franchise for a few years now, and so I hope this game succeeds because I do want this franchise to stay and have its longevity. There are countless videos on YouTube about Borderlands dying and the franchise dying twice. There's all kinds of different things out there. There's a lot of rumors and speculations about what, the issues going on with Gearbox, and really this is just kind of like an issue that needs to be resolved. The story of Borderlands 3 pissed off a lot of people, and then Tiny Tina's Wonderlands seemingly not having any type of end game, it just really was a problem for both games. And so Borderlands 4 absolutely needs to knock it out of the park. Even with some minor issues, this game needs to hit where it really matters for a lot of players. And so these are 5 things that I think this game really needs to succeed. So sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy the video. So it's kind of a no-brainer for what I wanted to start this list off with, and I touched upon this a little bit in the intro, and that is the launch of Borderlands 4. Borderlands 3's launch was so bad that it left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. And I'm not saying that this game needs to drop and be absolutely perfect, because with the wide variety of gear, skills, etc. in the game, nerfs and patches are inevitable, but when they do release the game, it doesn't need to be the mess that Borderlands 3 was. They also need to make sure that there is some in-game content like a raid boss or two ready to go at launch. So that way players have a challenging thing to go try to accomplish, and then when the nerfs and patches do eventually roll out, it doesn't completely break the game and builds are still able to do what they need to do. And so all in all, I'm not saying that they need to release a perfect game by any means, but they do need to make sure that fun is still there and it's not a stressful pain in the ass like Borderlands 3 was at times. And so that is my hope, that we don't get a 60% completed game, a base game. I'm not trying to make a DLC joke, but when the base game that you don't purchase anything else comes out, it doesn't need to be a crumbled mess for months until it's actually playable and you just kind of push and persevere. No, they need to try to make sure that the game at launch is somewhat manageable and somewhat fun and somewhat figured out. And then, I'm cool with being a test dummy, but don't completely break the game, please. Borderlands 4 needs to have a good story and it needs to have good content. So that's why I'm saying that these two are definitely going to be my picks on this one. I understand why the base story of Borderlands 3 pissed a lot of people off. The Calypso twins were hated not because they were the big bad villains of the game, but because they were annoying. And throughout the game, I was waiting for them to turn off that streamer attitude gimmick that they were doing and become full-fledged evil villains. Not to say they weren't already evil, but you guys get what I mean. On top of that, there was hints of them betraying each other, and I know that there was dialogue that was stated throughout that, and I don't know if maybe later on they changed the script and decided that they wouldn't betray each other or what happened there. But I was waiting for the inevitable betrayal of the Calypso twins, one of them probably Troy betraying Tyreen, but you can also probably argue Tyreen would betray Troy. So, you guys get what I mean. So if they do continue trying to find Lilith, I hope that a new villain, a new story is made that can definitely be something that players can enjoy. And, hopefully we don't have to play through it 3 times. Gotta hope not. That'll be a different topic. But anyway, yeah. So, one of the things about Borderlands is replayability. You go through the game multiple times and you, of course, will play different characters, you'll do different build types, you'll do different challenges. So you are going to be enduring the story multiple times. So you want to have a good story. You don't want to have a story, you don't want to have segments that drag on, that are just not fun to play, because that is just going to inevitably hurt your game long term. And so I also want to add on that I am going to be the unpopular one here and say that I do not want Handsome Jack to return as a villain. Handsome Jack's story has been told. Handsome Jack is there. Everybody loves Handsome Jack, and if we are going to get some type of Handsome Jack, I hope it is in the form of Timothy from the Moxies DLC. That's all I'm going to say there. Now, speaking of DLC, I love the DLCs in Borderlands 3. I thought they were really fun, and I hope that whenever they do announce DLCs, they do it kind of in the form of Borderlands 2, where they have raid bosses, then they can do mini DLCs, but at the same time, what I want them to do is, if you are paying for a DLC, I want you to get your money's worth. Games are going up in price. Everything's going up in price. We all know that. So, adding on an additional $15 or so, I really want. Well, yeah, 15. Yeah, that sounds right. I think that's how much DLCs still are. But anyway, you guys get what I mean. But if they're going to be adding in DLCs for us to buy to get additional content, I want it to be worth it. I want them to incorporate raid bosses. I want the stories of the DLCs to be good. I want there to be good weapons. All that good stuff. And I also really like the idea of the headhunters from Borderlands 2. Of course, ideally the snowman chest. And I want something that people can compare to the pre-sequel DLC that everyone loves that I can't remember the name of. Is it the Claptastic Adventure or something? But anyway, I want people to talk about that DLC and compare it to that one and say, I don't know which one's better. You guys get what I'm saying. But, some of the memorable ones for me were the Moxie DLC, the Captain Scarlet DLC. I really enjoyed those. Not Moxie's Underdome, the Borderlands 3 Moxie DLC. And then, of course, General Knox from Borderlands 1, that whole DLC, even though it was a pain in the ass and I raged at it, it was fun. But like I said, guys, I just really want, if you're going to pay for a DLC, I want it to be worth it. And if they do make these DLCs and they add in raid bosses, that is just a better end game, which will be the final topic of this video. When Borderlands got kind of explained to me, what they said was a first-person shooter where you go loot and shoot and you farm people for gear. You guys already know what I'm about to say. I want dedicated drops to return. And I really don't need to go into too much detail on this, but you guys know what I'm trying to say. I want the classic, you go kill this person for this piece of gear. No nonsense, no, you go chaos chamber and hope you get some. That, holy hell, that was annoying. The DLC content, I feel gross calling it a DLC content. I should have said this in the last one, but the DLCs in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands were so bad. And then trying to get the gear in them was like a whole other level of hell. Bro, I just want to go kill someone for this piece of gear. That's all I want. I don't want it to be anything. Cool. If world drops are a thing, whatever. I hope there's world drops because it makes the game fun. But at the same time, please just dedicated drops. Come back. We miss you. We need you. We love you. I've stated this before, Borderlands 3 is my favorite game of the entire franchise. And one of those reasons is because of build variety. I feel like there is a lot to do, not saying that there isn't build variety in the other games. Chill. But for me, Borderlands 3 had a lot of build variety, and I'm going to use Flak as an example because Flak had a lot of different builds you can do with it. You had Fade Away, you had Gamma Burst, and of course there was Rack Attack with the Peregrine, and you could do it with the Gas Call, you could do Pet Flak, you could do Messy Breakup Flak, there was all kinds of stuff, and then my favorite was Fishy Flak. So on top of that, you had Zane, who had all the different attachments. You could do Shoulder Cannon, Mantis Cannon, I think is what it's called. You could do Clone, you can do the Drone. I don't really know if anyone ever did the Shield one. But then Amara did Melee, and then she could also do Ties That Bind. There was a lot of stuff where she could Phase Slam and do crazy damage, Phase Cast, all that. And then Moe's was, you could do Iron Bear, Iron Crab, but you guys get what I'm saying. So yeah, I mean, there was a lot to do in the game that I really loved, and there was just a whole lot of different build variety you could do. And I get that this is where anointments are going to come in, and I'm going to kind of touch upon that. I don't want build variety to be based on just having anointments alone. If anointments come back, if they do come back, they need to scale down how many there are. They need to balance them out and make them not as game changing. And if there is some type of reroll anointment thing in the next game, they need to just completely just make it cheap to do, because the amount that they had it in Borderlands 3 was too much. It made getting perfect gear a pain in the ass because you had to go farm iridium, and it's just no. So if anointments do come back, if they do come back, I want them to be extremely toned down. And I don't know. There shouldn't be one that was I think consecutive hits was the big one for a while, and I think they nerfed that one. But at the same time, it's dude, just please, if you're gonna put anointments in there, balance them out better. And I don't want anointments to have to do with build variety. I don't want that at all. So what I want is there to be fun build variety. If they do decide to add in 2 different characters or another character, Or hell, even go crazy and give 6 characters 4 skill trees. Holy shit, that would be amazing. I'd be so down for it. Could you guys imagine back in Borderlands 2 if Gage got another tree? You didn't have to do Anarchy Gage. You didn't have to do Fibber Gage anymore. But yeah, like that's all I want. Like it's a very simple one. I just want build variety because there were so many build variations in Borderlands 3 that I had a blast with. And some of them you could do like early on, and then some of them wouldn't last in game. Kind of like Borderlands 2, there was like a lot of fun builds that would be cool for like normal Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, but they wouldn't last in like, or no, I mean True Vault Hunter, excuse me, not Ultimate, but they wouldn't like do very well in Ultimate, you know. So that's what I want. I just want there to be like a fun variety of builds for everyone to use. And if I say the word build one more time, I'm probably gonna bash my head into a wall. Seriously though. Six Vault Hunters with 4 skill trees. Dude, sign me up. These are going to be the honorable mentions. I'm not going to go too into detail on these. I really hope that the level scaling of Wonderlands comes back to where, like, if you find a gun you really like, you can go back and kind of like retrace your steps and go get like a leveled up version of that. I like that the entire game leveled up with you. So if there was like a cool farming spot, like you're kind of behind in XP, you can go back and level up for like a certain part of the story. I really enjoyed that one. And then on top of that, I want pearls to come back. I want there to be like an extra rarity. Something that like has peeved me for a long time now is we got those like rarities in the Fight for Lilith Sanctuary DLC or whatever. Fight for Sanctuary DLC? Yeah, that whatever I'm trying to say. We got those like rainbow rarity type guns, and then like they just completely disappeared, and then they didn't add anything new in Borderlands 3. And that was something that really bothered me. I get that like a lot of the guns were just reskinned, but at the same time it was like, dude, there's nothing else in this game. Like no special kind of rarity, like nothing, just period, like nothing. We get white, green, blue, purple, legendary, period. There's no 6th rarity. Like I want that to come back. Like I want pearls to come back, and I want them to be good. I want them to feel like a freaking pearl. As for this one, if you guys have something I missed before I get to the final one, let me know down in the comment section below. What do you guys want in Borderlands 4? Number 1, the number 1 thing that I want in Borderlands 4, for the love of Christ, give me a fun endgame. Holy shit, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands endgame was so bad. Like, there was a comment on my finale video. It was like someone said that the content was too hard for me or something, or I wasn't strong enough, which I laughed my ass off at that. Because I think I just upset them because I said that it just was really, really, really repetitive. Like, Chaos Chambers were super freaking repetitive for me. Like, I hated it, could not stand it. And then going back to Borderlands 2, I hated the fact that you had to fucking slag everything. You had to slag everything to do anything. I don't want that either. And like, most of just the guns, and then you just didn't work anymore. You had to have the beast shield to do anything. Like, dude, it was so... I just did not like it. Borderlands 3, it was a pain to jump from, like, Mayhem 1 to Mayhem 11 for a lot of people, and I completely understand that. But, like, I want, like, a fun endgame. I want to, like, feel rewarded for beating the story, leveling my character all the way up, and then I want to have, like, challenging enemies to go fight. Borderlands 3 did that pretty well. We had the cartel event. We had Hemovorus. There was the takedown, which those need to come back. The Malawan takedown is one of my favorite things in Borderlands ever. We definitely need raid bosses. And then on top of that, I would love for there to be like a option to fight like story enemies at a raid boss level. I think also I saw some people, I think it was Killer 6 was talking about like a Digistruct type like raid boss thing. That'd be a cool idea. But really what I'm saying is I want there just to be like a fun in-game, Like I want you to beat the game and be like, oh shit, I can go do this and this and this. Like beating the game and leveling up your character, that was just step 1. You're just kind of done now. Like you're kind of done. You still have a bunch to do. You just got a little bit knocked out. And that's what I'm getting at. That's what I want to see in an in-game. And I also saw that people were saying there's too much in-game in Borderlands 3, which I'm like, what the hell is the matter with you? Go play Wonderlands. Go play Wonderlands, bro. You're going to beat the game and then go get thrown into Chaos Chambers where, like, good luck. You're just going to be sitting there mobbing for 6 hours. But anyway, so like we had the Slaughter Shaft. I think it was like the Slaughter Shaft type maps. We had the trial maps, which were freaking amazing, and just all kinds of different stuff in Borderlands 3. And I would love if they brought that back. You know, just a fun overall end game. Like I said, you beat the game, you're just kind of done. You know, you still got a whole other adventure ahead of you. And then, you know, that way, like, you have a way to, like, basically test your character, test how you have it built. I'm avoid saying build. And then those raid bosses drop, like, really sick items, you know. Like, I'm not saying make them strictly dedicated items for just them, but make their loot a little better, and then the chest at the end, make those a little better. I don't want to, like, it's like killing Terramorphous and you get greens. You know, like, you get greens and whites and you get one legendary. That pissed me off. That was where people lost me when they said that you get too many legendaries in Borderlands 3. Because I kill Hemovorus and homie drops 3 legendaries. I think that's fair. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. I want there to be a fun end game. That is the biggest thing for me in a Borderlands game. That is why I was able to play through 3 so much, is because, yes, I wasn't crazy about the story. Yes, Eden 6 felt like it took 6 years. You guys get it, Eden 6 years. But when I got to the end game, I leveled up my character. I got to level 72. I started farming for gear. I was done. Bam, I have a bunch of shit to go do. That's why I love that game, and just like the build variety of it, and being able to go test all these different kinds of characters against all these different raid bosses. I felt like going back to the last one, if there was extra Vault Hunters and you all had like 3 or 4 skill trees, dude, the amount of raid bosses that they could put in 4, partner that up with how many characters we have, man, you are looking at a fun time. So that is my list, guys. Those are my 5 things I would like to see in Borderlands 4. If you hate my list, that is completely fine. It's just my opinion. If you guys have a completely different opinion on that, that is cool too. Hey, more props to you. I hope you enjoy Borderlands 4. But that is going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.
Don't forget to like, follow, and obey.